So ladies and gentlemen, the UEFA Champions League is back this week, guys. We are now in round 4 of the UEFA Champions League, and honestly guys, this round is fixing to be one of the most entertaining rounds of the Champions League. We've got a lot of good games, entertaining games to look forward to in this round. Real Madrid versus Liverpool at Anfield. We've got PSG taking on Bayern Munich. We have Barcelona, my team, going away to Club Brugge, and Manchester City taking on Borussia Dortmund, just to name a few of the games that are coming up in the Champions League this midweek. But guys, in this video, I'm going to do a full prediction of all of the games in the Champions League in this midweek, guys. Now, I'm going to quickly say, guys, very quickly, I'm not going to go into detail in every single game. I'm going to really go into detail in the games that really matter. In some of these, I'm just going to go quick fire on them, guys. But if you guys like that, make sure you guys smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications. Let's go. So, the first game, guys, on Tuesday, early kickoff, we have Slavia Prague taking on Arsenal Football Club. Now, this is definitely going to be a David versus Goliath game. And honestly, on paper, guys, there should only be one winner in this game. As far as both teams' forms coming into this game is concerned, Slavia Prague, who are the home team in this game, they have not won a game in the Champions League in their first 2 games, but they have 2 draws and an L. In the last game away at Atalanta, they actually got a great draw over there, a 0-0 draw. They lost their game before that against Inter Milan 4-0, and they also drew at home against Bodo Glimt. And they're taking on an Arsenal team that are red hot right now. They are one of the form teams in Europe right now. They've scored 8 goals and still yet to concede in the Champions League. 9 points out of a possible 9. And honestly, I'm gonna be very real, I only see one winner in this game. They had an amazing performance in their last game in the Champions League. Absolutely battering Atletico de Madrid. And honestly, I see them doing another one. I can see them winning this game by 3-0. So I'm going Slavia Prague 0, Arsenal 3. Now, next up, ladies and gentlemen, on another early kickoff on Tuesday will be Napoli versus Ajax Frankfurt. Now, both of these teams have been bums this season. That's the only way I can put it, right? They've both been bums, right? Both of these teams, right, had an absolutely nightmare round 3, guys. I mean, first of all, Ajax Frankfurt lost 5-1 at home to Liverpool. And Napoli, they ended up losing against PSV. I mean, they got battered by PSV by 6-2. So both of these teams are currently sitting at 22nd and 23rd. Ajax Frankfurt is sitting at 22nd with Napoli sitting at 23rd. So both of these teams is safe to say are desperate for this win. Now, Frankfurt's form is so weird, right? I think they won 5-1 in the opening game, or in their second game 5-1, and then they lost the other 2 games 5-1, right? It's such a strange phenomenon. As far as Conte's team is concerned, they are the home team, so I am going to give them the edge on this one. And I'm going to go in this game Napoli 3, Ajax Frankfurt 1. Now, the first game in the late kickoff in the Champions League is Atletico Madrid versus Union Saint-Gilloise. And honestly, guys, I'm going to quickly give my prediction on this one. Both of these teams are near around each other, and both of these teams got battered 4-0 in the last round, right? Arsenal battered Atletico Madrid by 4-0, and Union ended up actually losing 4-0 at home against Inter. And honestly, Atletico Madrid are the home team, so I am going to give them the edge. I'm going to actually go Atletico Madrid 4, Union 1. Now, the next game, guys, I want to talk about quickly is Juventus versus Sporting Lisbon. And honestly, guys, Juventus need to win this. They still haven't won in the Champions League yet. They lost their last game, obviously, against Real Madrid. They lost narrowly. And their other 2 games they drew. They drew against Dortmund and Villareal. So they've really had a tough start in the Champions League. So this, on paper, I would say is their best game on paper so far this season. But it's only on paper because Sporting Lisbon have started the Champions League pretty well. They're currently in the playoff areas, and they've won 2 out of their 3 games, and they won their last game against Marseille. But I do see Spalletti getting his first win of the Champions League with Juventus in this game. I'm going with Juventus 2, Sporting Lisbon 1. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we now focus on the games that matter. The game that most people are going to watch. I'm definitely going to be watching, guys. That is Liverpool versus Real Madrid. Now, this is one of the games that a lot of people are looking forward to, right? And I still think that a lot of people will be watching this game. I'm not going to lie to you. Liverpool's form is dreadful. They won their last game in the league, but in the Champions League, their last game, they battered Frankfurt, which they needed. But if you really look at their form on the slot, it's been absolutely dreadful. They've been losing. They lost, I think, six games. Like in the last 10 games, they lost like 6 out of the last 10 games. Not good enough. It's been absolutely dreadful. And they're taking on a Real Madrid team that is full of confidence right now, right? They're now top of the table, 5 points clear, and they're currently, doing their thing in the Champions League. Still won 3 games out of 3, so they're doing their thing in the Champions League as well. And on paper and on form, everything is saying Real Madrid, and Real Madrid have a good record against Liverpool. But I'm gonna say this: I don't think it's gonna be as easy as many people think it is, but I'm still edging it towards Real Madrid. I still think Real Madrid will get this win, unfortunately. So I'm going with Liverpool 1, Real Madrid 2 in this game. Now, next game I want to quickly talk about, guys, is Olympiacos versus PSV. Now, guys, I'm not going to spend too much time on this, guys. Both of these teams are coming in very, very weird forms. Now, PSV are the team coming into this game with more confidence. They absolutely battered Napoli in their last game, right? They've had an interesting start to the Champions League. They've won 1, drawn 1, lost 1. And Olympiacos, who are the home team, they need to win this game, right? They have still yet to win a game. And obviously, their last game was against Barcelona. We absolutely battered them. So this is going to be a very interesting game. But I do see Olympiacos actually getting the win in this game. I think they're going to get their first win of the Champions League this season at home against PSV. I'm going with Olympiacos 1 and PSV 0. And now for another big, huge game in the Champions League on Tuesday, we have PSG versus Bayern Munich. Now, I feel like this is the game that people are sleeping on. For me, this is the game I am actually more excited to watch, to be honest, right? Because both of these teams have really started well in the Champions League this season. Absolutely been amazing, right? PSG, obviously, defending champions. They have won all their games in Champions League so far. In their last game against Leverkusen, they absolutely trumped these guys at their home stadium, 7-2, right? Absolutely destroyed them. Bayern Munich also, they're on a crazy winning streak right now in our competitions. So something's got to give. This is the game I'm definitely looking forward to. And look, when it comes to PSG, they just lost Desiree Doué in the league. And they not only won against Nice this past weekend, late winner by Gonzalo Ramos, but the good news is they still have Dembele and Kvaratskhelia and all those guys back. So this is going to be a very, very interesting game. But I'm actually going to predict a draw in this game. I'm going with PSG 1, Bayern Munich 1 in this one. And for the final game on Tuesday, we have Tottenham Hotspur versus Copenhagen. Now, guys, I'm gonna quickly just say this, guys, very quickly. Tottenham Hotspur, they are still yet to lose a game in the Champions League, but they've drawn their last 2 games, right? They drew their last away game against Monaco, which is impressive, right? Monaco at home are not an easy team to play against. But this is their for a first home game back since I think the opening day of the Champions League. So they are the confident team coming into this game. Copenhagen, they lost their last Champions League game against Borussia Dortmund. So they have a lot of work to do. And that is why I'm quickly going to go for this one. I'm going with Tottenham winning this game against Copenhagen by 4-0. And now, guys, we now focus on the Wednesday games. We got a lot of good games coming up on Wednesday. And the first game, guys, I want to talk about, and this is going to be probably the least interesting one to talk about, is Pafos FC versus Villareal. Pafos FC are currently 29th. and Villareal shockingly at 31st right now in the Champions League, right? And Pafos FC have been very impressive. They've only lost one out of their first 3 games. They drew their other 2 games, but they are the home team coming into this game against Villareal, who did need a win. They need a win. I think they lost their last 2 games, if I'm not mistaken. I know they lost the last game against Manchester City, right? But to be fair, they've not exactly had an easy start. I think their last 2 games were Juventus and City. So this is the game they need to come back to life. This is the game, right? They need to win this game, and I am tipping them to win it. So I'm going to quickly go Pafos FC 0, Villareal 2. Now the next game to talk about is Qarabag versus Chelsea. Now, interestingly, both of these teams are actually in the playoff areas in the Champions League. Like, Qarabag have really surprised me. They've really started the Champions League well so far. In the first 3 games, they've won 2 out of their first 3 games, right? And they've been doing well, but they did lose their last game against Atletico Bilbao. And Chelsea, just like Qarabag, have also won 2 out of their first 3 games. They did lose their opening game against Bayern Munich, right? So they have a lot of work to do, and they did do the work. In their last game against Ajax, absolutely battered them 5-1, right? And this is a game with both teams with the same amount of points, and honestly, I do see Chelsea winning this game. I am going with Qarabag 0, Chelsea 2 in this one. Now guys, the next game I'm going to quickly talk about is Ajax versus Galatasary, and I'm not going to waste too much time. Galatasary are the away team coming into this game, and they are the form team. They have won 2 out of their first 3 games. They did win their last game against Brugge, and they're taking on an Ajax team who are currently sitting bottom of the Champions League. They have lost all of their games, and they need a win, and they need it soon. But unfortunately, I don't see them getting the win in this game, unfortunately for them. I'm going with Galatasaray. I'm actually going to go Ajax 2, Galatasaray 3 in this game. And the next game we're going to get into is Benfica versus Leverkusen. Now, both of these teams are sitting low in the table, right? I just mentioned Ajax, who are currently on 0 points. Guess what? They are currently 0 points alongside Benfica. Mourinho has not had his start in the Champions League, has not been good enough so far. He actually got battered in his last game against Newcastle United. Absolutely got destroyed. 3-0 in that game. And speaking of destroyed, Leverkusen got absolutely annihilated in their home stadium. Absolutely destroyed. They lost 7-2 at home. But something's got to give, right? And honestly, I'm tipping Mourinho to get his first win of the Champions League in this game. I'm going with Benfica 2, Leverkusen 1. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be talking about my team, Barcelona, guys. Now, I'm not going to go into detail because I do have a match preview set up for the game. But I'm going to say this now, guys. Club Brugge away, we should win this game. And honestly, I think we will. Now, Club Brugge have not had a bad start to the Champions League so far, right? They've been pretty okay, right? They're sitting around, you know, pretty good in the table, still early in the Champions League, but they did get battered in their last game against Bayern Munich 4-0, right? So they're coming into this game low on confidence against a Barca team who, in our last game in the Champions League, we absolutely battered Olympiacos. And you know what? I'm tipping us to do it again. I'm not going to say a battering, but I do see us winning this game comfortably. So I'm going to go with Club Brugge 1, Barcelona 3. Now guys, next one I'm going to talk about, I'm not going to waste too much time on this one because this one is too easy for me to judge. Now, next one is going to be Inter Milan versus Kairat Almaty. Now, this is definitely a huge David versus Goliath game because on one hand, you've got Inter Milan who have actually started the Champions League amazingly. 3 wins out of a possible 3. They're currently, their confidence is super high right now. Taking on a Kairat Almaty team who are currently on 1 point, and they did draw, and that point came in their draw at home against Pafos FC, which, you know, at the end of the day, if you're going to win a game in the Champions League, that should be the kind of games you should be winning, but they didn't get it done. And as far as this game is concerned, they are not doing anything in this game. I'm actually going to go Inter Milan comfortably in this game. I'm going with Inter Milan 4, Kairat Almaty 0. And next up, we have probably the biggest game on Wednesday, which is Manchester City versus Borussia Dortmund. Now, both of these teams are actually in the same area in the table. I think they're both 6th and 7th right now in the table. So, and both of them are currently on 7 points. So both of them are around the same form. Manchester City, last game away at Villareal, got the job done 2-0, business as usual. And also, Borussia Dortmund also got the job done in their last game in the Champions League. I think it was against Copenhagen, if I'm not mistaken. They did win 4-2, if I'm not mistaken. So, you know, both teams are coming into this game really high on confidence, right? So, what do I think is going to happen in this game? I do think the City have this one in the bag. Unfortunately, I don't see Dortmund doing anything in this game. And they're not going to do anything in this game because I am going with Manchester City to Borussia Dortmund, no. And now the next game we're going to talk about is Marseille versus Atalanta. Now, I'm not going to go into too much detail with this one. Both of these teams are around each other in the table, but their form is actually pretty close. When it comes to Marseille, they have only one out of their first 3 games. They lost their last 2. So in the last game, they did lose to Sporting Lisbon away. And as far as Atalanta is concerned, they surprisingly drew at home against Slavia Prague 0-0. So I'm gonna be very, very honest. I feel like I'm gonna give the edge to Marseille in this one, right? I think it's gonna be close, but I am predicting a close 1-0 victory for Marseille in this game. 1-0 to Marseille against Atalanta. Now, finally, guys, the last game in the Champions League, round 4, I'm going to talk about is Newcastle United versus Athletic Bilbao. Now, both of these teams are, you know, they've had a okay start to the Champions League, right? Both of these teams actually won their last game in the Champions League. Newcastle United got the job done against Benfica, 3-0 performance, and Athletic Bilbao are coming into this game after beating Qarabag at home 3-1. Now, I'm actually edging this quickly to Newcastle United. You can predict Bilbao. Bilbao's away record is not really that good. So I'm actually going to go with Newcastle continuing their good start to the Champions League, and I'm going to go with a 2-0 win. I'm going with Newcastle winning this game by 2-0 against Athletic Bilbao. Now, guys, let me know what you guys think about my prediction in the comment section below. And also, guys, in the chat, put your own predictions in the comment section below. Make sure you guys smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications. And like I always say whenever I end these streams, guys, Euskal Barça, Euskal Catalonia. And peace, you guys. Take care.